This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We're honored to continue and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. All right, I have thumbs up from the co-hosts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Daily with Doc. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room and let people into our live Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc.
My name is Becca Dukes, and as the hostess of this program and also the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, it is our honor and privilege to help you find tools to put into your toolbox to help you find better health, whether it's a journey that you have been on for a long time, or if you are just figuring out that, hey, maybe I need to make some changes so that I don't go down that bad journey of health, or if you want to maintain. Folks, wherever you're at, even starting kids off early and making sure that they have the best optimal start to health is going to help them in the long run. And that's where this program is created to help you find options that actually work, because there's a lot of things out there on the internet, on the TV, that promotes things that suppress the body's natural response. Well, folks, we don't want to suppress the body's natural response. We want to make sure that the body can build strong and not have to go through that stage of suppressing. And I think there is no better person than to help us find what things are able to help us in supporting the body instead of suppressing symptoms than our one and only Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Yes, pharmacist, folks. He has been trained as a pharmacist in using pharmaceuticals to address poor health conditions. Well, in his journey, he found that nutrients, whether they're vitamins or minerals or amino acids or essential fatty acids, they have an important role in supporting the body. And in fact, I love his little, key phrase that says pharmaceuticals
nutrients
are what pharmaceuticals wish they could be, or something like that. Well, hey, rather than me continuing to chop it up, folks, it is my honor and privilege to be able to bring to you Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, who has been studying nutrition and recommending nutrition for decades. Are we looking like 20 plus years?
Decades, 40 years.
Okay, so I was going to let you
40 years. I graduated pharmacy school in 1986.
Okay.
Is that crazy? That was what was that? 24, 40, almost 50 years ago. What the heck, man?
No.
Yeah, 40 years, almost 40 years ago. It'll be 40 years in 2 years, 38 years ago. So here's the deal. I started my pharmacy school experience in the early 1980s. I graduated in 1986. And in pharmacy school, we study nutrition. You don't realize that. The pharmacists study nutrition, but we don't study nutrition like a dietitian studies nutrition, or like a doctor studies nutrition, or like an exercise physiologist or a kinesiologist studies nutrition. These are all people who understand the power of nutrition for performance and for helping the body do its work. But our perspective on nutrition is as medicine, because obviously pharmacists study medicine. So nutrition, to a pharmacist, nutrients appear like medicine, but they're a very special kind of medicine. See, medicine is very, very powerful. Drugs, I should say, are very, very powerful. Pharmacology is very, very powerful. Side effects and toxicity account for a tremendous amount of misery, deaths, and hospitalizations every year. So you've got this whole healing modality that's associated with potency, but it's also associated with toxicity. The reason it's associated with toxicity, and the reason that it's associated with potency, is because it's very overwhelming to the biochemistry. It drowns out the biochemistry. It imposes its will on the biochemistry of the body. Drugs do not work with the body. They work to oppose the body. The thinking being that the body is doing something wrong. We're going to oppose what it's doing to get it to do something right. Now, if you just think about it for a little bit, that you'll realize that doesn't make a lot of sense to impose your will upon the body in the interest of helping the body do things right. Because basically what that's saying is we know better, or the medical practitioner knows better than the body. Nothing really goes wrong with the body as much as we do the wrong things to our body. We put the wrong things in our body. Even diseases, cancer, autoimmune diseases, digestive diseases, metabolic disorders, all things that go wrong with the body aren't really things going wrong with the body as much as it's the body trying to cope with what we're doing. These are coping mechanisms. These are adaptive mechanisms. These are survival mechanisms that are okay in the short run, but when the body is chronically attacked, these survival mechanisms can become dysfunctional, or they can result in dysfunction. They can have dysfunctional results. That's what disease is. So we want to get this idea that the body's wrong, the body's bad, the body's stupid, the body's unintelligent, and we're smarter than it. That's what the medical model wants us to believe. Oh, your silly body, it's just attacking the thyroid. We got to suppress the immune system. Oh, your silly body, it doesn't know what to do with all that sugar, so we're going to crank out, we're going to force it to crank out hormones like insulin so it can deal with the sugar. Oh, your stupid body, it's just inflaming. We're going to suppress the inflammation. This is the thinking, obviously not literally, but this is in effect what we're doing when we use prescription drugs, when we use pharmacology to address problems, address things that we're doing wrong that the body's trying to deal with. On the other hand, nutrients provide the body with the wherewithal, the resources that it needs to deal with issues, which are inevitable. The body is an incredibly equipped adaptive mechanism. It can survive, it can adapt, it can bring the highs down, it can pull the highs down and the lows up. It can adjust. It's incredible at adjusting. This adjustment biochemical phenomenon is referred to as regulation. And the body is the quintessential regulatory system. It adjusts impeccably unless it's overwhelmed or it's starved in the resources it needs to do its work. Resources being nutrition, as well as water, and as well as oxygen. So the only thing that really goes wrong with the body is deficiencies and toxicity. And in pharmacy school, we learned about the toxicity associated with drugs, and we learned about nutritional deficiencies as the cause of diseases. So in my 26-year-old brain, I was thinking, why aren't we using nutrients? Why are we using the drugs? On top of that, drugs require detoxification. This is a hidden cause of drug problems, of drug toxicities. A hidden cause of drug toxicities that are independent of side effects, independent of adverse reactions. We all know that there's side effects. There's adverse reactions. All you got to do is pull out what's called the package insert from your medication, and usually pharmacists and doctors don't like their patients to see the package inserts. I got in trouble more than once for giving my patients the package insert, but I would highly recommend that you always ask for your package insert on all drugs that you're going to be on chronically, or really on all drugs, but especially if you're going to be on something chronically. You want to know what potential adverse reactions and what potential side effects are going to be, and all drugs have potential adverse reactions and side effects by their nature as toxins. This is not being poetic or rhetorical. It's not a semantic device. They're literally toxins. And this is why the second element of drug toxicity, in addition to adverse reactions and side effects, has to be addressed, and that is detoxification. Aspirin has to be detoxified. Chemotherapy has to be detoxified. Statin drugs have to be detoxified. Antihypertensive, antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, all the antis you can name, all the blockers you can name, they all have to be detoxified, which means the body's nutritional resources, which are used to run every system, the heart, the spleen, the lungs, and the intestine, and the detoxification system, are going to be diverted away from the good stuff towards detoxification. So, for example, copper is a major part of the detoxification system. So is zinc is a major part of the detoxification system. So is vitamin C, a major part of the detoxification system. So you take a drug for your heart that's presumably going to make your heart better or make your heart function more effectively. And that drug is going to cause a depletion of vitamin C, which is important for your heart, a depletion of zinc, which is important for your heart, a depletion of copper, which is important for your heart, because zinc and copper and vitamin C are all involved in detoxification. So now you're going to be running higher risks of vitamin C deficiency issues, which include accelerated aging and bone problems and immune problems and cardiovascular problems. So you're taking a drug which is going to cause a depletion of a nutrient, which is going to you're taking a drug for your heart, which is going to cause depletion of nutrients, which are important for your heart. And that's not going to show up on the side effect profile or the adverse reaction profile. So vitamin C we know is important for the bones. You're running higher risk for osteoporosis when you take a drug any drug that causes depletion of vitamin C, but osteoporosis isn't going to show up as a side effect or as a toxicity. You get what I'm saying here, Rebecca? I need you to help me here because I can't see it right. Does that make sense? So
That
depletion
totally makes sense.
of nutrients, which can cause other health issues, is not addressed in the prescription drug adverse reaction or a side effect profile. Every drug is going to cause a rerouting of nutrients towards the detoxification system in the liver. So in addition to adverse reactions, now you got to deal with detoxification, with a lack of resources or a deficiency in resources, which are caused by the prescription drug you're taking. And so when you set it up against an alternative, which is nutritional supplementation, which is not detoxified, does not require detoxification, which adds to your nutrient stores, which are used by the body, they don't have to be detoxified, they're integrated into chemistry. Drugs are not integrated into chemistry. They're integrated into the structure of the body. Drugs are not integrated into the structure of the body. And on top of all that, as if that weren't enough benefits, with nutrients, you get extra benefits. You take vitamin C for your heart, you get better bones. You take zinc for your bones, you get better skin. You take vitamin D for your intestinal health, you get a better immune system. There's no drugs that do that. You can't take a prescription drug and get beneficial effects. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rebecca. You want to say something?
Well, no, I mean, I just want to make sure that people understand. You know, they're so dependent on pharmaceuticals. Consider what those pharmaceuticals are doing. They're creating nutritional deficiencies.
On top of the side effects and toxicity. On top of that, the side effects and adverse reactions and the toxicity, that's one thing. But now you're dealing with nutritional deficiencies. And it brings up a very important point. I get this question all the time. Rebecca, I'm sure you do too. And I'm sure all the longevity distributors get this. Oh, is this vitamin, is this nutrient, is this supplement, is this formulation going to interfere with my medicine? Which to me as a nutritional pharmacist, I find the most craziest question in the world. Will my nutrition interfere with my poison? That's what I hear when I hear people say that. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand that there are times when you need poison. Yeah, I get that. In the short term, you need to have something suppressed. If you've been abusing your body for decades and now your blood pressure is through the roof, you may need a beta blocker or an antihypertensive of some kind to temporarily quiet down or calm down or reduce your blood pressure. You may need that. I'm not saying you don't. You have some kind of terrible inflammatory pain, you may need a pain pill. You may need an anti-inflammatory. But your job, if you're on a prescription drug, your number one health challenge should be to figure out how to wean yourself off of that. Wean with your physician. You don't want to wean, unless you know what you're doing, you don't want to wean without him or at least letting him know what they're doing. And that's also a very important point. The doctor's working with you and you have a de facto contract with him. It's not fair for you to say, I'll do this, but I won't do that. It's not fair. And it's not fair for me to say, don't do what he's telling you to do. You want to work with your physician. That doesn't mean you have to do everything he says. You don't have to do everything he says. In fact, you shouldn't do everything he says necessarily, but you want to work with him. You want to participate with him. And if you're on a prescription drug, you're going to be on this the rest of your life. You want to figure out how to wean yourself off by weaning yourself on good nutrition, good nutritional and good dietary and good lifestyle strategies. You wean off the meds, wean on the good lifestyle strategies. It's kind of like, I used to be a DJ, and if anybody ever was a DJ, a disc jockey out there, they know that you turn down this dial as you're turning up this dial. That's an art form. When you're doing radio, you turn this dial down and this dial up, and that's how it sounds. It sounds even and smooth. It go from this record to that, and that's what you're doing. You're turning down the drugs. You're turning up the Healthy Start Pack, or whatever, the Synaptiv or your digestive support, whatever it is you're doing, you're turning this down and turning this up with the goal of turning this completely off and turning this completely on. That should be your goal. And in order to do that, you have to make lifestyle changes. You can't say, I'm just going to get off this drug. You got to make sure you're correcting your digestive issues, which are usually involved in some kind of inflammatory or health challenge. You got to make sure you're stabilizing your blood sugar. You got to work on the triangle of disease, all those things that we always talk about. So for all these reasons, I decided that nutrition was the best medicine. And this is following in the footsteps of all the great doctors throughout history, including Hippocrates, who said, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. He didn't have nutritional supplements, but if he did, he would have said, let the healthy start pack be thy medicine and let thy medicine be the healthy start pack, the mighty 90 essential nutrients. So that's why I am a nutritional pharmacist, and I use nutrients in my I don't have the same kind of practice I used to have, but when I had a clinical practice where people come into the pharmacy, I always suggested nutrients first, that people take nutrients with their drugs, then people take nutrients instead of their drugs. And you know the story, how that worked out for me at Kmart, but it worked out for me in the long run. So I love the healing modality of nutrition and nutritional supplementation in conjunction with food. And by the way, it is in conjunction with food because there's still things in food that support nutrients, particularly adaptogens, flavonoids and carotenes and phytosterols. And there's all these wonderful molecules that are in food that aren't the mighty 90 essential nutrients, but they support the mighty 90 essential nutrients. And so you always want food and nutrients together. You always want the mighty 90 essential nutrients and your good foods. So today we're going to talk about
let's talk about the
brain. Yeah, we'll talk about the brain, okay? Now the brain is not remember, there's three primary systems in the body: digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal thyroid complex. Those are the primary systems of the body. So if you have a mental health issue, whether it's an organic health issue or an emotional health issue, like it's a issue with the structure of the brain or the biochemistry of the brain, or it's an emotional, psychological issue, you backtrack to the triangle, right? If you have heart disease, same thing. If you have cancer, the same thing. Autoimmune disease, the same thing. The triangle is the fundamental 3 points to work on. And even more fundamentally is the line, the plane, the dots, whatever. I don't know, we haven't come up with a name yet, but it's the 2 points where the body obtains its energy. And that is through energy coming in through food and energy being delivered or processed through the blood sugar system. Those are the 2 major systems of the body that need to be addressed with everything. And the reason this is important is because health is so overwhelming for folks. I mean, we're on these calls every week, and there are folks here who've done the health coaching program, and we've all studied or at least participated in the world of nutrition. Look how confusing it is for us. Imagine how it is for the vast majority of people out there who have no understanding of nutrition, no understanding of biochemistry, no understanding of their bodies, have no idea why what's happening to them is happening to them, and their physicians aren't helping them. So it's critical that we simplify for us as therapists and as distributors, and simplify it for our clients and our patients to empower them. Remember, the greatest gift we can give is the gift of empowerment. The supplementation and the advice and the healthy start pack and all of the things that we do to help people understand and deal with their bodies are important because they empower the patient. We want to empower our patients, and simplicity does that. So everything is backtracked to the digestive system and the blood sugar system, and make no mistake about it. If the digestive system is impaired, toxicity is going to enter into the bloodstream, the circulatory system will say, and it's eventually going to get into the brain. If there's nutritional deficiencies present, that's going to affect the brain. If there are blood sugar issues present, that's going to affect the brain. I have a book called Insulin and Psychiatry. It's an old book from the 1950s, and it talks about using insulin for psychiatric issues. Now, why would insulin be important to help folks deal with, and this is not psychiatric, this is psychoses, like schizophrenia, serious mental health problems. They used to use insulin to treat it. Why would you use insulin as a psychiatric tool, do you suppose, Rebecca? What does insulin do?
It helps regulate blood sugar.
Exactly, which tells you that if insulin is going to improve psychotic behavior, that there's a dysglycemic, a messed up blood sugar component to psychoses, to mental health issues. And we know that is the case. And the conjunction of toxicity and blood sugar, and when I talk about sugar, excess sugar, we're talking about toxicity here. The combination of toxicity from the blood sugar system and toxicity from the digestive system in combination with nutritional deficiencies is what accounts for, number one, the physical brain health issues, organic brain health issues, things like dementias or Parkinson's disease or movement disorders, but also the psychological issues that don't have a structural component or a dysfunctional structural component, just flat out psychology. And I'm always a little careful with that because psychological issues have to be dealt with psychologically as well. I mean, everybody on this planet, certainly in this country, and likely on this phone call, are dealing with some degree of post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? Just from our dysfunctional childhoods or parenting, or how our parents, God love them, or the culture, we're all under low levels of stress. Henry David Thoreau said, all men lead lives of quiet desperation. Can you relate? And that includes women, of course. We lead lives of quiet desperation. We suppress things. Never underestimate the pain, the suffering, the trauma psychologically that your friends and your neighbors and your relatives and your loved ones and your patients are going through. And you need to address those through healthy psychological strategies. There's a lot of them. Religion's a great one, by the way. And spirituality, or religion can be a great one, not always, but it can be a great one. Spirituality, and I'm big on all of those things. That's why I call it the 4 dimensions of healing: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. So I'm always a little bit careful about addressing bipolar or depression or anxiety issues strictly from a physiologic perspective. That being said, there are nutrients that can help people who are dealing with psychological issues. There are nutrient deficiencies that are associated with psychological issues. And there are toxicity issues that can exacerbate the problem. And it all begins, surprise, surprise, with the intestine. There's a molecule that is produced by bacteria in the intestine when we're healthy. And this molecule is one of the most underappreciated, if not the most underappreciated, health molecule in the body. It's critically important for all the good things, for good immunity, for muscle building, for relaxation, for sleep, for sexuality, for all of the things we love about being human and being alive. This one simple little molecule plays a major role in all of these wonderful things that the body does to give us a great life. You want to know what that molecule is?
Yes, I do.
You sure? You don't sound like you want to know.
No, I really want to know. Because especially, you talked about the 4 dimensions of healing.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be your next great lecture, or write a book.
I'll put that on the list for my book.
Yeah, put that on the list. But for right now, please.
All right. Okay, so yes, SMEP, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. So this one little molecule is important for the immunity, for the immune system. It's important for the brain. It's important for mood. It's important for satiety, satisfaction from food, satisfaction from life. It's important for muscle building, important for sleep and for sexuality. It's this incredible, incredible molecule. And it's made by bacteria in the intestine when you have the right bacteria. This is a molecule that's critical for protecting against colon cancer, which is one of the fastest rising, fastest increase, whose rates are increasing faster than any other cancer, is what I'm trying to say here. This molecule is a molecule we used to use in the gym all the time. When I was doing my weightlifting back in the day, we used to take this form of this molecule to grow, get bigger. You can take this molecule for seizure disorders. You can take this molecule, you can get it for, it's in our Sleepies product for helping you sleep. It's a molecule called butyrate or butyric acid. And butyric acid and butyrate are used in the brain in the form of something called gamma amino butyrate or gamma amino butyric acid, also known as GABA. GABA is one of the most important neurotransmitter supporting supplements you could take. Like I said, we have it in our Sweeties product. It might actually be in the Synaptiv, if I'm not mistaken. We got to look that up. There's also a supplement called we used to use it when I was working out, called HMB, hydroxymethylbutyrate. It's a form of butyric acid. It's important for muscle building. There was a wonderful molecule that you could get up until about 20 years ago. They made it illegal 20 years ago. This was a molecule that you could get over the counter that would help you sleep, help you have great sex, and it was incredibly important for the muscle building system. So bodybuilders would use it. People would use it as an aphrodisiac, and they would use it when they wanted to fall asleep. It would make you fall asleep right away. It's called GHB. Anybody ever heard GHB out there? They made it illegal about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Gamma hydroxybutyrate, another form of butyric acid. But the best way to get your butyric acid is to make your own, or at least have the bacteria in your gut make butyric acid. They make it from fiber. So making sure you're getting enough fiber is important for brain health, not just for mood, not just for satisfaction and contentment, but also for seizure disorders, or for sleep disorders, or for anxiety disorders. So butyrate's the first thing you want to think about when it comes to nutritional supplementation for the brain, or nutrients for the brain. And butyrate is upregulated, and by the way, very important for colon cancer protection. Butyrate is upregulated by fiber. Ultimate Microbiome is your butyrate boosting longevity supplement. Another wonderful way to get butyrate is the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is one of the best brain health diets you could ever use because it keeps your blood sugar stable. It keeps cortisol from spiking. Cortisol has a anti-health effect on the brain. We'll talk about that here in a second. It keeps your cortisol from spiking. It keeps your blood sugar stable. At the ketogenic diet, this is. And because butyrate is important for satisfaction, satiety, it helps you stay satisfied with low calories. This is why people don't need to eat as much calories when they increase their fat. Butyrate comes in from fats, from good fats, as well as from fiber. So the ketogenic diet, fiber, and digestive support are the best ways for you to upregulate your butyrate. For mental health, if you have SIBO or you have any kind of digestive health issues, dysbiosis issues, you're going to have a problem producing butyrate. And this is not only associated with poor mental health, this is associated with also with overeating, and it's associated with colon cancer. So butyrate's the first thing to think about. Increase your fiber, go ketogenic, use your nightly essence, improve the intestinal the environment of the intestine, make it more conducive to bacteria. That's number one. That's related to what's called the gut-brain axis. Gut-brain axis is the link between the intestine and the brain. The second critical nutrient for brain health, critical, is your ultimate niacin. The ultimate niacin obviously is a source of niacin, which is quintessentially a brain nutrient. When we think of niacin, we think of the heart. It's very important for the heart. It's also very important for the blood sugar system. It's very important for the digestive system. And via its relationship to the digestive system and the blood sugar system, it also has benefits for the brain. Niacin is a precursor to very important neurochemicals, brain chemicals, just like we're going to talk about choline here in a second. It supports neurology in the brain, niacin. It also supports energy levels in the brain. Deficiencies in niacin are associated with dementia. Everybody who's dealing with a loved one who has dementia, Alzheimer's dementia, or even just older age, even just memory, just forgetting things as they get older, just age-related cognitive decline, should be on the ultimate niacin. It's the best gift you can give a relative in the nursing home. Actually, the second best, probably the Beyond Tangerine is the first best gift. The next best gift is your ultimate niacin. In fact, niacin is so important for brain health, it's used to treat social anxiety disorder. There are some people who believe that the nicotine in cigarettes, which is kind of sort of similar to vitamin B3, niacin, in a toxic way, it's believed that people smoke cigarettes as a way of self-medicating from niacin deficiency. So for folks who want to quit smoking cigarettes, get them on the ultimate niacin. People have social anxiety disorder. People who have any kind of social disorders, Asperger's syndrome, certainly psychotic behavior, or any kind of neurotic behaviors. And if you're having dementia issues or Parkinson's disease for that matter, movement disorders, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's dementia are very similar. If you have your brain deterioration a milliliter to the right, you may affect the nerves that affect movement, or you may affect the nerves that are responsible for movement. You have Parkinson's. You have a little bit more to the left, you may affect your cognitive functions. You have dementia. They're both basically organic brain disorders, and your ultimate niacin can be used to help with both. The third important supplement for brain health, and I say third, but I don't really want you to think it's like third in order. This is just the third one we're talking about. They're all important, is your ultimate EFAs, particularly the omega-3s. Very, very important for all neurology. And omega-3s are passed from the mother to the baby through breast milk and in utero. And because omega-3s are so important for the brain, the baby's brain benefits from mom's ultimate EFA supplementation. Moms out there, pregnant women who are moms to be or nursing moms, you need extra ultimate EFA, because now you're going to be using the ultimate EFA for yourself and for your baby. And guess what? Your baby will have better hand-eye coordination. Your baby will have better eyesight. You'll have a smarter baby. For when I was growing up, and you probably heard this, they always used to say fish was brain food. Did you ever hear that? The fish was brain food? The reason fish is brain food is because the omega-3 fats that are contained in fish, particularly fatty fish, are very important for the nervous system, the brain and the nervous system. Dr. Wallach's favorite biochemical, I'm going on a limb, I think it's his favorite biochemical, it's certainly one of them, is cholesterol. And cholesterol is also very important for the brain and the nervous system, as well as the muscles. Cholesterol is our coping molecule. I can think of no more effective strategy to inhibit or suppress the physical health and the mental health of a population than to poison its cholesterol manufacturing systems, its citizens' cholesterol manufacturing citizens. If you want to destroy a culture from a physical perspective, as well as a mental health perspective, give them all a poison that will stop them from making cholesterol. Cholesterol is an incredibly important molecule for movement, for muscular contractions, for brain health, for the production of all of your growth hormones and molecules, all your steroid hormones and molecules, all your stress management hormones and molecules. Cholesterol helps us deal. Cholesterol helps us think. Cholesterol helps us move. Cholesterol helps our immune system. The idea of shutting down the production of cholesterol is a poster child for the utter biochemical intellectual bankruptcy of clinical chemistry, or the clinical medical model. One of the things that we don't really appreciate when we deify our medical model, when we lionize our medical model, how wonderful our healthcare system is we forget that there's two kinds of chemistry. There's the chemistry of biology, called biochemistry. That's the chemistry how your body works. And then there's the chemistry of test scores. What your cholesterol level is, your HDL, your LDL, your TSH, your thyroid hormone, your blood glucose, and your bone mineral density, and all the different metrics and tests that are used to determine how healthy we are part of what's called clinical chemistry. The chemistry of the clinic. The chemistry of the clinic is a mere approximation of the information that you get from the chemistry of biology, the chemistry of biochemistry. Doctors work with clinical chemistry. If you really want to know how your body works or why you're not as healthy as you should be, find a biochemist. Study biochemistry. And a biochemist would know that cholesterol is an incredibly important molecule. A clinical chemist will say, well, HDL is associated with a lower risk of heart attacks, and LDL is associated with 17% higher risks of heart attack, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't help you. It doesn't matter what 17% risk higher or lower is for an individual patient. Those are statistics. 3 kinds of lies, according to Mark Twain: lies, damn lies, and statistics. Statistics are irrelevant when it comes to individual people. Statistics are for groups, not for individuals. Clinical chemistry is about statistics. What the likelihood of you having a disease based on a high percentage of this or that, or a high cholesterol score or low thyroid score, etc. Those are percentages. They're not relevant for an individual person. Biochemistry is relevant for you. We are not numbers, we're biology. We're not statistics, we're biochemicals. So cholesterol is also incredibly important for the heart, for the brain. You can eat cholesterol. You want to be careful about cooking cholesterol. That's where cholesterol becomes a problem, is when it's heated. That's why Doc always says soft-boiled eggs or poached eggs. You don't want to overcook your eggs. You don't want to overcook your meat. You don't want to overcook anything that has fats and has cholesterol in it, because cooked fats and cooked cholesterol are problematic. Your body makes plenty of cholesterol in response to carbohydrates. It will also make cholesterol in response to stress, because cholesterol is important for stress hormone. It will also make cholesterol in response to building. If you're lifting weights, if you're an athlete, if you're coming out of surgery, anytime your body's undergoing growth and repair, cholesterol levels will go up. Suppressing cholesterol will suppress growth and repair. It's one of the worst things an elderly person could ever do, is take a statin drug. It's bad for anybody, but for an elderly person, it will suppress growth and suppress repair. Elderly folks are already frail. They're already dealing with growth and repair issues. So statin drugs aren't good for anybody, but they're especially problematic for older folks. Cholesterol also is very important for the brain. And by the way, there's also an important relationship between niacin and cholesterol, and niacin and blood fats too. Talk about niacin and sugar, but niacin is also important for stabilizing blood fats as well as cholesterol and blood sugar. And then there's the nutrient that we're going to talk about today, which is choline. You might notice that choline has the same prefix as cholesterol. Isn't that interesting, huh? What does chol mean? C-H-O-L. And cholecalciferol. Do you know what cholecalciferol is?
No, I don't. Please share.
It's vitamin D.
Oh.
Cholecalciferol is vitamin D. Choline is an essential nutrient. And cholesterol is a substance that's produced by the body to help the body grow and cope and deal and make hormones and make vitamins. And cholecalciferol is a form of vitamin D. What does chol stand for? What does chol mean in Latin? What does the prefix chol mean? It means bile. Chol, it refers to bile. C-H-O-L refers to bile. Cholesterol, or bile, I should say, is made from cholesterol. Choline is one of the most important components of bile. Cholecalciferol, vitamin D, is made from cholesterol. And bile is also partially composed of cholesterol. Cholesterol is a precursor to bile. By the way, if you're on a statin drug, you may likely have a bile problem too, because you're suppressing your cholesterol production levels. And bile is one of the ways the body gets rid of excess cholesterol. So sludgy bile, sticky bile, not having a gallbladder increases your rates for elevated blood cholesterol, which increases the likelihood you're going to be putting on a statin drug when all you really need to do is take care of your bile. So choline is an essential nutrient. It actually about the late 90s, they made it an essential nutrient. Up until the late 90s, it wasn't considered essential. And choline plays numerous roles in the body, numerous important roles in the body. Probably the most important role for choline in the body, I don't want to say the most important, but one of the most important roles for choline in the body is to protect neurons, really to protect all cells, but neurons have even extra choline. All cells are wrapped around with a membrane. The cell membrane is composed of choline. Anytime your body is making cells, it needs more choline. Choline is very important for nerve cells. So for all brain health and neurological health issues, choline can be a very important nutrient. It's an essential nutrient, but it can be extra essential for people who are dealing with movement disorders, Parkinson's disease, Bell's palsy, mental health issues, dementias, psychotic health issues, Parkinson's disease. All of these are places where choline can provide benefits. Choline is also involved in helping cells talk to each other. There's a very important brain chemical or nerve chemical called acetylcholine, which you may have heard of. Acetylcholine is a critically important neurotransmitter for all kinds of systems in the body, including the digestive system, as well as the nervous system in the brain. Choline also, by virtue of its roles as a component of cell membranes, is important for the immune system. It also plays a role in methylation for folks who are having methylating problems. Folks who have that so-called MTHFR deficiency issues will benefit from choline. And choline also is important for making DNA. I talked to AJ yesterday. We did a what was that thing we call it? What's that thing called, AJ, that we did? Bright Bites? Ben's Bites, Ben's Pharmacy Bites. And we talked about a child, a baby, who had a congenital issue in the womb, a hernia, an issue involving a hernia, diaphragmatic hernia in the womb. And this is said to be a congenital issue, meaning it's an issue that's caused by, or that's the end, that causes a problem with fetal development. And this is secondary. This problem with fetal development involves genetics, like all things involve genetics. But it's not a genetic disease per se, because the genetics themselves are dependent on a healthy nutritional environment inside the womb. So sometimes is Doc on the call, by the way?
I don't know if Doc is on today.
All right, so sometimes Doc, so I'll just talk about him behind his back here. So Doc sometimes freaks people out. He says, there's no genetic diseases. And everybody will go, what are you talking about? No genetic diseases. Oh, but what about cystic fibrosis? And my baby had Tay-Sachs disease, blah, blah, blah. All these different, whatever genetic, so-called genetic disease that their medical professional told them they had. And that is true. But what Doc means is the genes in the womb require a healthy nutritional environment. The genes in the womb depend on nutrition, and under conditions of malnutrition, the genes won't form correctly. And then you'll have a so-called genetic disease. But the gene itself is not the problem. It's the nutritional deficiency that leads to the problem. This is why even medical professionals who don't really believe in nutritional supplements will give pregnant women prenatal vitamins. And chief among the prenatal vitamins is choline, which is very important for genetic development for DNA development of the genes, the fetal genes. So choline's involved in cell structure, it's involved in neurology, it's involved in brain health, it's involved in digestive health, it's a key component of bile, it's involved in cell-to-cell signaling, it's involved in supporting the immune system, and it's important for methylation. For people who have methylation issues. I don't want to digress too much, but methylation is a type of activation and a type of detoxification. If people don't methylate appropriately, you're going to have issues with activation of genetics, activation of key nutrients, as well as detoxification. Choline supports methylation. And choline is one of the most important learning aids, learning supporting nutritional supplements you can take, cognitive nutritional supplements you can take as a precursor to acetylcholine. Choline is found in high protein foods. Choline is found in grains and nuts and seeds. Choline is found in fish, especially fatty fish, organ meats like liver. Choline is found in broccoli, and if I may say so, if I may be presumptuous, it's also found in Doc's favorite food and my favorite food, a human being's most important food, the most complete food you could possibly eat, which is eggs. And much of eggs' benefits for the brain are due to, in addition to cholesterol, the choline content in the eggs. Choline contain a pretty substantial amount of eggs. In fact, next to chicken liver and beef liver, and maybe fatty fish, eggs are probably nature's richest source of choline. For vegetarians, like I said, you could do the cruciferous vegetables, broccoli and cauliflower. Legumes also can get you some choline too if you're a vegetarian. But eggs and organ meats are probably your two best sources of choline. Of course, you can use the Synaptiv as well as the ultimate enzymes, which contain choline in the form of lecithin. And that's one of the most important benefits of using lecithin is it's a rich source of choline. In fact, organ meats, eggs, fish, and grains and nuts contain their choline in their lecithin. So using the lecithin granules, or using your beyond tangy tangerine, your ultimate enzymes can also get you choline. And then, of course, there's Synaptiv. Most brain health supplements will get you some choline because it's pretty well recognized that it's important for the brain. The Synaptiv has a small amount of choline in it, but it also has other brain health nutrients, particularly zinc, vitamin C, and thiamine. Thiamine is vitamin B1, and that is probably the most underappreciated of all nutrients, in my opinion, especially for the brain, and in fact for the whole nervous system. Vitamin B1 deficiency will cause all kinds of neurological issues that you may not think of as neurological issues. For example, chronic constipation can be a neurological issue that's associated with thiamine deficiency. And for folks who are chronically constipated, they may want to consider using more beyond tangy tangerine or the ultimate daily or the Synaptiv to get more thiamine. Peripheral neuropathy can also be caused by thiamine deficiency. In fact, the disease that is marked by thiamine deficiency, which is called beriberi, is associated with peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy, for those of you who don't know, is when the nerves on the periphery in the extremities, the hands and feet and fingers and toes, get very painful. They burn, actually, feel like fire. Neuro means nerves, pathy means diseased, peripheral means on the periphery. Peripheral neuropathy is when your nerves on your extremities burn. Can you imagine having a fire in there? I've never had it, but I've seen people had it. It's terrible. And thiamine, which is in the Synaptiv because of its ability to help the nervous system work, is very important for helping folks deal with peripheral neuropathy or any neural issues, peripheral neural issues. And of course, because the brain is part of the nervous system, vitamin B1 is very important for mental health issues. In fact, if you have a disease called Werner-Korsakoff syndrome, which is also known as alcoholic psychosis, which is where alcohol abuse leads to psychotic behaviors and delusions and hallucinations, vitamin B1 is injected right into your blood and it gets rid of alcoholic psychosis almost instantly. So you got to wonder how many folks are just dealing with memory problems or dementia or other cognitive health issues, maybe not full-blown Werner-Korsakoff syndrome or alcoholic psychosis, but just mild brain dysfunction, are simply dealing with a vitamin B1 deficiency. And when you add in the fact that the body uses vitamin B1 to process sugar, the more sugar you're eating, the more you're burning through vitamin B1. The more sugar you're eating, and by sugar means bread and pasta and potatoes and rice. It doesn't have to be just cakes and cookies. It could be also breads and starchy foods, starchy processed foods, cereals, etc. You're going to run higher risks of vitamin B1 deficiency and higher risks of brain issues. Attention deficit disorder can be caused by vitamin B1 deficiency. Aggressive behavior can be caused by vitamin B1 deficiency. Mood instability, bipolar issues can be caused by vitamin B1 deficiency. The more sugar you're eating, the more likely you're going to be deficient of vitamin B1. So maybe kids who have attention deficit disorder don't need Ritalin, they need beyond tangy tangerine. Maybe kids who have ADD or aggressive behavior, emotional issues in school or problems focusing, maybe they don't need Ritalin or Adderall. Maybe they need Synaptiv, in addition to choline and your ultimate EFAs and your ultimate niacin and all the other nutrients that are important for the brain. Synaptiv is also made with what we call our brain support complex. The brain support complex contains a very important amino acid, which is critical for muscle development, for brain health, for the immune system, for the liver, and for the intestine, for the digestive system, called glutamine. The Synaptiv also, the brain support complex in the Synaptiv also has an herb called ginkgo biloba, which is very important for brain health, although it's not nutritional. It can have brain health benefits, mental health benefits for folks who are dealing with cognitive decline issues or mood issues. And then there's also an antioxidant blend in with various herbs that have adaptogenic properties to help protect the brain in the Synaptiv. And a very interesting B vitamin that you don't hear a lot about that has calming properties that are so important, you can use this nutrient to help you sleep. And this is also in the Synaptiv, and this is the B vitamin called inositol. Inositol, and certain forms of inositol, are actually used to treat cancer. This is another, just highlights the benefits of using nutritional supplementation. You don't get only the benefits that you're using your the specific benefits you're taking your nutritional supplements for, but you get extra side benefits. The formulation is rounded out with vitamin C and niacin, and then also zinc, all of which play important roles for mental health and for brain health. So for mental health issues, think digestive support via the microbiome and the production of butyrate, which has benefits for the entire nervous system, including the brain, and for muscle building, and for sleep, and for sexuality as an aphrodisiac, and for just general satisfaction, appetite suppression, as well as satisfaction with life. And then more specific brain nutrients include choline, niacin, thiamine, your omega-6 fats, and your ultimate enzymes, which contain lecithin. If you're taking prescription drugs, as we said, your number one health challenge should be to figure out how to wean yourself off that prescription drug and get on a good nutritional supplement program at the same time. If you have any clients who say, I wonder if those nutrients, if that Healthy Start Pack is going to interfere with my beta blocker or my blood thinner or my statin drug or whatever it is, you say, nutrients will help your drugs work better. And the more nutrients you're on, the easier it's going to be for the body to detoxify the nutrients, the less likely you're going to be suffering from nutritional deficiencies caused by detoxification of nutrients. Plus, you'll be able to wean yourself off your drugs more readily as you increase your the levels of nutrients in your body. Nutrients will help your drugs work better. Nutritional supplementation, I should say, will help your drugs work better. And they will ameliorate or reduce the likelihood of nutritional deficiencies that are caused by prescription drugs. And on top of all that, they will reduce the likelihood of side effects, or at least reduce the severity of side effects caused by the prescription drugs you're taking. Nutrients work hand in hand with prescription drugs, and everybody on a prescription drug, especially long-term ones, especially super strong ones, needs to be on the Healthy Start Pack. Needs to be on a well-rounded nutritional supplement program that features the Mighty 90 essential nutrients in addition to all the other support longevity products like the Fucoid Z and the Restart Your Life and the Synaptiv and 1,000 different ones. Okay?
That's a lot of information,
Well,
Pharmacist
it's always
Ben.
a lot of information.
That's huge. So you are such a wealth of knowledge that allows us to be able to be more informed,
That's my goal.
especially when it comes to what pharmaceuticals do within the body, what we need to do as empowered individuals to help our body be able to detoxify and function properly. You know, you had mentioned anisotol. It actually
Inositol.
helps the body, inositol, sorry. It
Yeah.
helps the body to be able to regulate blood sugar as well.
Yes, that's right.
So there's so many things, folks, that you can do to help yourself in becoming your best possible self. And because the body is made in such a divine way where we're continually creating new cells, the better nutrition we put into our body, the better the cells are going to be. It's like garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. It's just so simple.
It is so simple. Yes.
Well, do you have some time for calls? I know we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
only 4 minutes.
Yeah, let's take a few calls. Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's first go to Donna, who has had her hand up. Donna, how are you today? Go ahead and let me get you to unmute.
Thank you so much, Ben. You're just a wealth of information. Always a
right.
joy. Always a joy. I have a poor 93-year-old woman, blind and on dialysis, can't afford really good food. She takes a few of the longevity products, but I wanted to send her something with more nutrition, like one of the shakes. But I understand that with dialysis and kidney problems, potassium is an issue. And it seems like most of the shakes we have are high in potassium. What are your
Well,
thoughts?
everything has potassium in it. She won't be able to eat anything. She won't be able to have a salad. Vegetables have potassium in it. So it's more important that, in my opinion, I'm not going to, she has to talk to her doctor about it, but it's more important that she gets all of the nutrients that are involved, that she's going to get from her, for example, the TMR, the Fit Shake. The potassium amount is not going to, it's not going to cause any more of an overload than eating any, drinking vegetable juice is going to do. The kidney, and I don't know how broken down her kidneys are, so I can't really say, but everybody needs potassium. You can't go zero potassium. There's potassium in everything and everybody needs it. So the question is it too much potassium? I can't tell you the answer to that, but I can tell you that there's a lot of other nutrients in the TMR and in the Fit Shake that are going to be important for this person, especially if they're frail and they're older. So personally, I would be doing it, and I would be, if she wants to do it, she has to tell her doctor, but she has to tell her doctor. I can't tell her doctor that. And I would be doing it. If I was in dialysis, you better believe I'd be doing the Fit Shake and the TMR, no matter what my health challenges were. It's true that the potassium is filtered by the kidneys, and if she's not or if her kidneys aren't functional, she may have an issue with too much potassium. The dialysis, I would imagine, would take care of that, and I don't think she's going to get too much potassium from the TMR or the Fit Shake. But she should probably talk to her doctor. Limited budget. If she's on a limited budget, I would put her on I don't know if I'd get her on the Fit Shake first. Is she on the Healthy Start Pack?
Ultimate Daily Classic was all she could afford.
Why not even the Beyond Tangy Tangerine?
No.
Then how are you going to get her the Fit Shake?
I'm going to pay for it myself.
I would pay for the Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Okay.
Well, I would pay for that and get her, have her get some food sources of protein. Fit Shake and the TMR are great. They're very handy and they're just absolutely packed with nutrients. And it's easy to get your nutrition without having to cook and without having to deal with a whole kitchen project. You just mix in a blender and drink it down. But if you had to pick one product, I'd probably do the Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Okay, because she's also allergic to shellfish, and they seem to be putting a shellfish dye in her dialysis, and she passes out and has allergic reactions. And they
well, let me ask you this, Donna. I'm gonna pick on you a little bit because you put yourself out there. Why would somebody be allergic to shellfish? What's in shellfish?
Iodine.
How could you be allergic to an essential nutrient? You can't be allergic to an essential nutrient. Iodine is essential. You'd be dead. Now, people are allergic to, there's a protein in shellfish that sometimes people can react to. And there's also, shellfish also encourage the release of histamine. Remember we talked about histamine? And many so-called shellfish allergies are really histamine reactions. The reason I say this is important, the reason I'm bringing this up, is because none of that is going to be in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. The
Okay.
shellfish, there's no shellfish in Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There is no shellfish in Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's glucosamine that's derived from shellfish in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's not the shellfish. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the molecule glucosamine. So people, they have to put that on there as a disclaimer. But realistically speaking, you're not going to have a shellfish reaction to Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's no shellfish in there. There is glucosamine, which comes from shellfish, but that doesn't mean there's shellfish in there, or the shellfish protein, or histamine release. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, but if she says it is, then that's all you need to, you don't want to argue with it. You don't want to argue with the patient. So, but just so you know, there's no shellfish in Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's no need for shellfish in there. The glucosamine is derived from shellfish, but there's no shellfish in there. That's different.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Donna. And another learning moment with Pharmacist Ben. And Pharmacist Ben, so Longevity does have a shellfish-free pack. And that includes the Beyond Tangy Tangerine Original.
That's good to know. So in other words, the glucosamine is non-shellfish derived in that special pack?
Yes, it's plant derived.
That's good. Well,
Oh.
I don't think it'd be plant derived. Or maybe it is plant derived. Like what kind, I don't know if I don't know if it'd be plant derived, but it's non-shellfish derived, right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct. All right, let's go over to Phyllis. Hello, Phyllis. What questions do you have for us today?
We have a couple, and Ben, we have Danny on Facebook who wants to know, is there anything that can be done to eliminate a cyst on his kidney?
Okay, so a kidney cyst, they can go away. I'm not sure exactly how big the cyst, how significant the cyst is. He may have to have it surgically removed, or it can go away. Cysts are growths. Whenever tissue is growing inappropriately, you want to look at number one, insulin. Insulin is the major driver of cyst growth, of the growth of cysts, along with estrogen. Now, insulin, you lower your insulin, you stabilize your insulin by laying off insulin spiking foods, which are very sensitive to sugar, should be regarded as a diabetic issue, first and foremost. That's the sweeties. All the blood sugar issues, all the blood sugar support supplements. Secondly, the hormone estrogen is involved in the formation of cysts. Now, estrogen is a female hormone, but men make it too. So dealing with estrogen issues, either by balancing estrogen, number one, that's where things like pregnenolone and progesterone and your ultimate EFAs and vitamin A and vitamin E come in, and the ultimate selenium, all of which have an estrogen balancing effect. And also clearing estrogen through the digestive system. This is the digestive component. I think we talked about this last week. Bile, one of the jobs of bile is to clear the body, clear excess estrogen out of the body. If you're dealing with SIBO or any kind of small intestinal health issues, you may not be eliminating, or liver issues or gallbladder issues, you may not be eliminating your estrogen as effectively. So using strategies to support elimination. I want to ask this patient if they have any digestive issues, constipation issues. In fact, this is a nice little teaching moment for distributors out there, folks who are doing longevity. When somebody says they have kidneys on the cysts, the appropriate question is what else do you have? There's no kidneys on the cysts that just appear. They're not just, it doesn't just spontaneously from the middle of nowhere, cysts don't just grow. They require an environment that's conducive to hyperproliferation. Cyst is hyperproliferation. It's like a type of cancer, a type of tumor. It's not cancer, it's not malignant, but it's that kind of same idea where cells are growing out of control. When cells grow out of control, you want to think about number one, insulin. You want to think about number two, estrogen. And number three, you want to think about nutritional deficiencies. Interestingly, cells, the default behavior of a cell is to grow and divide. It takes work for a cell not to grow. So the default state under nutritional deficiency conditions is growth. When there's appropriate nutrients, particularly vitamins A and vitamins D, also to a certain extent essential fats, they put the brake on growth. And by putting the brake on growth, they'll prevent the formation of pimples, boils, cysts, fibroids, any kind of growth that is occurring inappropriately. So also using digestive nutritional supplementation, but not just nutritional supplementation, because you got to absorb those nutrients, so digestive support. I'd be using the healthy blood sugar pack, as well as the ultimate or the nightly essence, the ultimate microbiome, and if there's full-blown digestive health issues, I would also be using the I-26.
Very helpful, because a lot of people have issues with cysts. I'm so glad you got into that.
Yes, think insulin and estrogen, as well as nutritional deficiencies.
And we have one more question from Florence, who is here in the room, and I'm not sure if she wants to come on, but she had liver failure. Oh, here she is. Liver failure in 2021. Florence, you want to tell us what's happening now with your numbers?
Yes, my doctor told me that my numbers have gone back up like to 200 in the 200s. And so for about 3 weeks now, I've been having like diarrhea. A gastroenterologist gave me something called cholestyramine.
Okay.
Yes. And she wants me to take that like 3 times a day. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay. It sounds like you have a fatty liver. Cholestyramine helps your body eliminate fats. It's not really a pharmacological agent. It's like a sticky substance that fats and cholesterol stick to, and then that passes out of your system. Problem with that is you're going to run into issues with your fatty vitamins, because any fat will get excreted out more readily, and that includes vitamin A and vitamin E and vitamin K. So you can run into deficiencies there. So you got to make sure that you're supplementing, and don't take your supplements with your cholesterol. You understand? You want to take them separately. Otherwise, the cholesterol will stick to the cholesterol. You don't want that. Do you understand?
So I just bought 2 like minerals from Longevity, because I have a consultant that I deal with, and I just bought these 2. They're liquid supplements.
Well, that's not going to the cholesterol's not going to affect that. But I'd be more concerned, Florence, with your blood sugar.
Okay.
That's where I would be focusing. Rebecca can tell you this. Doc just finished a book called Metabolic Syndrome, which I got just a couple days ago. Thank you, Rebecca. Well
You're
done,
welcome.
by the way.
Thank
And
you.
it does sound like that might be what you're dealing with here. That's usually what's behind a liver disease.
Okay.
Unless you have some kind of full-blown toxicity from somewhere, from chemotherapy or something, you were poisoned. It's usually metabolic syndrome. Did they tell you that you were diabetic, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have blood sugar issues? Nothing like that?
Never. But I do have cysts on 2 cysts, like one on each kidney.
You probably have some blood sugar issues. I assume you're postmenopausal, correct?
Yes.
Did you have hot
67.
flashes?
I'm 67.
Well, you're looking pretty darn good there, Florence, for 67. I would have guessed 57. So listen, did you have a hard menopause, hot flashes, sweats, insomnia?
Yes, I had all of that.
Okay. All of that is related to both insulin and estrogen. So I would get on the healthy blood sugar pack if you're not already, and start charting your foods.
Okay.
And see if you notice any foods are giving you problems, because it sounds like you might have some intestinal issues as well.
Yeah. Sorry, when I started taking niacin, and niacin and Jewel of the Orient. And when I started taking the niacin and some other vitamins at the same, I think that's when the diarrhea started. I think my liver, I don't know, but I think my liver
diarrhea would be more of a bile. That would be more of a bile problem. Do you have a gallbladder, right? You have your gallbladder.
Yes, it's there.
Did they have any issues with your bile?
Well, my eyes are not yellow, so I don't
Your
know.
eyes are not
But I
yellow.
do,
Okay, that's good.
I did have yellow eyes and the full-blown jaundice in
Okay.
2021.
Yeah, you probably have a probably have a gallbladder issue too, in addition to your liver issue. So
Okay.
maybe get on the ultimate enzymes and look for foods. Look for
Okay.
foods that are causing you distress, and you're going to want to eliminate those foods and start using digestive support. In fact, why don't
Okay.
you, who are you working with at Longevity?
Her, her, her name is Hattie
Hattie. I know Hattie.
McCutcheon,
I know
yes.
Hattie. Yeah, tell Hattie to call me and we can
Okay.
work, and I'll work with you. I know Hattie. Just have her give me a
Thank
call.
you.
Okay,
Thank
Florence.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Florence, for coming on with us. That's definitely going to be helpful for other people as well. And Pharmacist Ben, you mentioned the new book, The Metabolic Syndrome. You can get that at drjwallach.com. That is drjwallach.com, which is Dr. Wallach's books, all of his books that are there. And because of Dr.
If you like metabolic syndrome, get Hell's Kitchen too. That one's awesome also.
Well, and Hell's Kitchen. You know, Dr. Wallach started talking about metabolic syndrome back in 2004.
Yep. I was there.
2004. 20 years ago, folks. He's been talking about the metabolic syndrome and what we can do as individuals to help ourselves with it. It's just, we were working on this book, and I said, you know, Doc, you've been talking about metabolic syndrome since 2004.
Yep.
I said, and people are just now hearing about it. I mean, I heard about it in 2017 for the first time. So it's just incredible what, you know, there's that delay that allopathic medicine has compared to, you know, when we look at blank or quote unquote alternative medicine, which is actually the original medicine. It's just amazing. But yeah, that was a fun project with Dr. Wallach. And I've had lots of questions saying, you know, is Dr. Wallach okay? Yes, Dr. Wallach is okay. And yes, I'm in a different location. It is time for me to take care of my mama. So I'm excited to be able to do that and continue to be here with all of you as well. So we have some more questions. Do you have more time?
I got time for one more.
One more. All right.
Next week we'll do just questions.
Okay, next week, just questions.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Our next hand that we have up is Jill. Jill, go ahead and mute yourself.
I hope you can hear me. I went outside,
Yeah.
so I can take my headphones off, but there's a roller coaster behind me. So anyways, I have a friend, he's 62, and he says his body makes too much iron. And he gets these really horrible headaches, and he sees a doctor who, I guess he is a phlebotomist. He takes his blood out, and TJ's also had 2 strokes. So he gets this taken off because he says he makes too much iron. And let's see, the only other thing is his hemoglobin numbers on his blood count. When he started having this done was 22, and normal is about 12.
What was the second thing you said? What did you say?
I said he's had 2 strokes in the past, which is why he's concerned about the headaches. What's that? Oh, the blood doctor that he sees that takes the blood out because he has too much iron, says his hemoglobin numbers in his blood count when he started this process were 22, and normal is supposed to be 12.
Okay. So first of all, nobody makes too much iron. That's not a thing.
I told him, and that's why I'm asking you.
Iron is a mineral. Your body does not make minerals.
So he's not absorbing it.
No, what happens is iron is it's a double-edged sword. It's critically important. You can't your blood cells can't work without iron. Iron is how the body delivers oxygen. But iron is also a very unstable element, and it oxidizes quickly, and it can cause other things to oxidize or break down. So it's very tricky, and the body has to control the amount of iron very tightly. It controls iron in the liver via chemistry. There's a biochemical called hepcidin that is responsible for controlling iron levels, releasing it and storing it. When you have too much iron in the blood, it's likely you have a liver issue. And the reason it's likely the liver issue is behind his strokes. The liver issue itself is typically secondary to metabolic syndrome, which is blood sugar. That would cause strokes. So getting rid of the iron might be important because excess iron can be a problem. However, it's not because, again, the body's not stupid. It's not just throwing out iron into the blood. He's got something going on with the liver more than likely. And that implies metabolic syndrome. And that implies the triangle. So what I'd be doing is I'd be working on the first 2 points of the triangle of disease: digestion, ask him about problem foods, do a food diary. Does he have a history of digestive health issues, et cetera, and put him on digestives?
He does, yeah, and he does, absolutely.
Well,
And he
this is the triangle. And guess what? Does he have a history of blood sugar issues? Yes, he does. Whether he knows it or not, he has to.
Well,
okay?
I'm not going to answer that because I'm going to probably have him listen to this, and I don't want him to hear what my answer would be.
Okay,
but
he has to have an issue, and he may not know it. They may not have told him. But the link between the digestive system and all the other health challenges is metabolic syndrome.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me.
Right, so that's what he wants to be dealing with. Get in the metabolic syndrome book. I guarantee you he'll see all kinds of nutrients, all kinds of symptoms that are associated with his condition. Get him on the healthy blood sugar, healthy brain and heart pack. Throw in the ultimate selenium and the ultimate niacin. And then one of the most important ways to pull iron out of the blood is to chelate it. That means to magnetically attract it. Vitamin C, the ultimate C, or the CFX, I'm sorry, that has chelating properties. MSM has chelating, ultimate MSM has chelating properties. Ultimate selenium has chelating properties. And the N-acetylcysteine also has chelating properties. So I'd be working with chelation to help him get rid of the iron. And then I'd be working on metabolic syndrome to take care of the liver. It sounds like a liver issue, probably following digestive health problems. Does he have his gallbladder?
I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Okay, ask him if he has his gallbladder. He probably does. Liver sounds like fatty liver or liver disease following metabolic syndrome, which means the digestive system and the blood sugar system. You get rid of the iron, you can chelate it.
Thank you. And the one thing I didn't mention that I think is significant is he's a landscaper by trade. He's very talented, but he sweats just nonstop because that's what he does. He's outside.
He sweats. He sweats because he's hot, or he sweats like out of control sweating.
No, I just mean because of his work. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he may be losing some electrolytes that way. Healthy brain, heart pack, and digestive support. And also, if he wants to do the liver cleanse, Dr. Ariaz's liver cleanse is also quite effective.
And you think that would be safe to do in this situation?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a good choice. Thank you so much, Ben.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I gotta get going here, Miss Rebecca.
Okay, sometime we need to do a quick little insert on hormone replacement therapy.
Okay, I can do that. You can do that whenever you want.
So, all right, we'll schedule that because I know we have lots of questions in regards to whether or not that's a great idea. Of course, individuals are different, but thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben, for joining us here on Daily with Doc, Pharmacist Fridays. If I could get my co-hosts on the screen with me, that would be absolutely fantastic. And one thing that Florence mentioned is that she is working with a distributor. Folks, if you were referred by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them. They took the time and cared enough about you to share this program with you. We are a resource for an amazing community, and we want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of that community so that if a distributor has somebody that they don't know the answer to, they're able to bring them to this show so that they can get answers from medical professionals on the importance of nutrition and how they work within the body. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is no one to thank, you would like to work with a certified holistic health coach, I have an amazing team, some of them that you see here on the screen with me now, who are standing by waiting to take your call at 855-949-3333. 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. And if you have a question and you prefer to use email, feel free to email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. Again, questions@dailywithdoc.com. And please include in that email if you are working with somebody already. That doesn't make a difference as to whether or not you're going to get an answer. We just want to make sure that when we share information with you, that it directs you to the person that shared this program with you. Folks, today we have on with us Phyllis. Phyllis has been with Dr. Wallach probably the longest of any of us here on the screen with you. Right there with Pharmacist Ben, maybe a little bit longer. Phyllis and her husband, Andy. So thank you so much, Phyllis, for being on with us, making sure that people are getting into the room, watching those different platforms. Folks, if you are watching on another platform, let us know that you're there and where you're joining us from by sending us some love, a comment, and the best love is to share this with somebody else. So if you've got a program, share, or if you've got a program and you want to have us on your program, absolutely reach out to us, info@dailywithdoc.com. We can make sure that we are able to provide you with some excellent programming that helps you build your channel as well. We have Marilyn, who we lovingly call Fingers, as she does such an amazing job with transcription and taking the information that's being shared in the Zoom and putting it into the chat, which is one of the greatest benefits of being here live with us, as that information is not shared anywhere else except for during this Zoom. So thank you, Marilyn, for all you do. And we have my executive production manager who keeps us all in line, keeps everything organized, Ruth Ellen Sanchez. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for all that you do. Next on my screen, we have Coach Rod Wiggins. Rod is helping keep an eye on the different platforms, also on the cameras, to make sure that this is a safe place for everybody to join us at. Thank you, Rod. And we have from way down, probably the farthest person on this whole entire Zoom from where I am right now is Albert, way down in South Africa, as he is helping to let people into the room and keep an eye on those cameras as well. Thank you so much, Albert, for all you do and joining us at wee hours of the morning or late night. And we have also AJ. AJ has been very instrumental in helping us get onto all the different platforms so that we can meet people where they're at. So thank you so much, AJ, for bringing the skills that you have and helping to make this program more accessible to more people. My name is Becca Dukes, and I am honored to be able to bring this program to you. Share it with somebody. You know, you didn't hear this program just to have it go in one ear and out the other. This program is meant to help others be able to help themselves. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. We will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week as we are bringing more amazing information from doctors who have found the benefits of what Dr. Wallach has put together and sharing it with their clients and with you free of charge. Until next time, bye for now.
educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat,